Okay, good morning class. So today we're looking at cycle test 3 in preparation of your upcoming cycle test 3. This is the exam of 2020 or the test of 2021. Alright. The sketch alongside is the curve of h of x with a turning point at B, which is negative 2 and 6. H of x passes through the origin at A. Through the origin and A is an x-intercept. Okay, so everything said there is on the diagram anyway. That is a bit smaller. Write down the coordinates of A. The question paper and memo can be found in the description box below. Okay, as you can see here, A is your x-intercept. However, what is known is your axis of symmetry, which has an answer of negative 2, or x equal to negative 2. So we say that this distance from there to there is 2, so that is has to also be 2. So from the origin in that direction is going to make A negative 4 and 0. So A is going to be negative 4 and 0. Okay. Let's look at the second question. 1.2. Thank you. 1.2 says, if h of x is shifted 3 units to the right, shift to the right by 3 units. So h of x is shifted to the right by 3 units. What will the new coordinates of B, the turning point, be? 1.2. So this moves right 3 units. So it will affect my x. Not so. So B, which is negative 2 and 6, will become the image of B, B dash. Or you can just write without that story. But add 3 to that, I'm going to get 1. That's a new turning point. Okay? Yes? Sorry? No, you minus it on the equation. When you set up the equation, then you minus it. So for argument's sake, if this equation was f of x equals negative 2x squared plus 6, that's 4, so 8. For argument's sake, if that was the equation. And then it says 3 units to the right. Then you say y is equal to minus 2 into x minus 3 squared plus 8 into x minus 3. And then you multiply that out. You understand? But because you're just shifting the graph and they're not referring to the equation, that is why that is correct. Okay? I think we're confusing the equation with the actual graph itself. 1.3. H of x is shifted 2 units down, or down 2 units. Give the coordinates of the new y-intercept. So if it moves, you see that the what's the name is at 0. If it moves 3 units down, 2 units down, that's going to go to negative 2. So your coordinates is going to be 0 and negative 2. Okay. Look at the next question, 1.4. 1.1. A lot of transformation questions coming up here, né? If h of x is shifted so that B lies on the origin. So if B is 2 and negative 2 and 6, it's going to lie, it's going to go down by how many units? 6 units, not so. It's going to move across by 2 units. Describe the transformation. Okay? So if you take this graph here, and you do that shift, you see it's going to go down 6. It's going to go down 6. 6 units, you're going to move across 2. So you're going to go to the origin again. You all agree with that? So, describe the transformation. So you shift h of x 6 units down, or down 6 units, down 6 units, then 2 units to the right. Okay? Or you could have said the graph shifts 2 units to the right and then 6 units down. It's the same. Okay? State the nature of this route. The nature of the route tells us with regards to how it cuts the x-axis. What's the nature of the route? Is it real or non-real? Does it exist or not exist? It's real. Is it rational or irrational? What's your x value here? 0. Rational or irrational? Rational. Is it equal or unequal? Okay, any confusion there? One 1.4.3. Which of the following is true for the new parabola? What was the new parabola? The parabola that was going through like that. Not so? Which is true for the new parabola? Now, when we get b squared minus 4ac, what is this? A delta. A delta tells us about with regards to the nature of roots. Not so? So if delta is less than 0, what does that mean to say? Delta is negative. With negative roots, it does not cut your x-axis. Not so? But this is cutting the x-axis, so it can't be that one. Is delta equal to 0? Yes. Why? Because this will have equal roots. Not so? Yeah? Delta is b squared minus 4ac is greater than or equal to 0. Should it be greater than 0? No. Why? Because if it was greater than 0, then you could cut the x-axis twice. Not so. We're supposed to have left that equal sign out there. Okay? But the answer I was looking for was B. Like I said, because of the equal sign, it could be C as well. Okay? But I had to leave the equal sign out, then it would have been B only. Okay? Any confusion there? Let's go to the next question. Question 2. The sketch of the graph of f of x, f of a, and written twice, it's supposed to come out. Yeah? Given the sketch of the graph of f of x, all full stop. Yeah? F of x cut the x-axis at x equal to 2, and x is equal to 5/2. And the y-axis at 22. Look at these questions. First question. (2.1.1). Find the equation of f of x. People, what do we have here? We have two x-intercepts. Not so? So you follow the formula. Y equals a into x minus x1, x minus x2. Where x1 and 2 are your x-intercepts. If you were given the coordinate of the turning point, you would have followed the formula y is equal to a into x minus p all squared plus q. You all agree with that? Okay. So, you go a into x minus 2 and x minus 5/2. So in pursuit of calculating a, I must substitute the point that's lying on this curve, which is 0 and 22. The x and the y. So So 22 is equal to a into 0 minus 2, 0 minus 5 and 0. So that's going to give us negative 2 times negative 5 and a half is going to give you 11. So it's 11a equal 22. So a is equal to 2. You will divide both sides by 2. Therefore, y is equal to 2 into x minus 2 and x minus 5 with 2. 5 and a half, sorry. Which now gives us y is equal to 2 into, that's going to give us x squared. That's minus 5 with 2x. Minus 2x is going to give you negative 7.5x plus 11. Not so. Multiply the story out. So it's 2x squared minus, that's going to give you 15 over 2, which is 15x plus 22. So this is what f of x is. Okay. Let's go to 2.1.2. Question paper and memo can be found in the description box. Write down the range of f of x. What's the range? All possible y value. Does this graph exist at negative infinity? No. Where does it start existing at? The y value of the starting point. Do we have that? No. So what does that mean? I must calculate. I have enough information to calculate that point. As you can see, it's for 3 marks. So we need to work out the turning point. So how do you calculate the turning point, people? So the axis of symmetry, which is your x value, is minus b over 2i. So it's minus. What's your b value? Negative 15. So it's negative 15 over 2 and your a value is 2. Which is going to give us 15 over 2. Okay. I could have gotten that also by saying 2 plus 5.5 is going to give you 15 over 2, and divide that by 2, it's going to give you 15 over 4. Sorry? 2 plus 5.5 is 7.5, which is 15 over 2. Not so? 7.5? Am I wrong? 14 plus 1 is 15. Divide by 2? 15 over 4. No? Remember that the axis of symmetry is the line that's going to be the symmetrical like a mirror. Okay? It will reflect on either side of the line the same. Okay? So what we do is we sub that into f of x. So f of 15 over 4 equals 2 times 15 over 4 squared minus 15 times 15 over 4 plus 22. Plug it in the calculator, should be a negative value answer. No? So what I say is 15 over 4, and I put that as my answer. So I say 2 answer squared, it's 2 15 over 4 squared, minus 15 answer, which is 15 times 15 over 4, plus 22. Gives you negative 49 over 8. Or in improper fraction, negative 6 and 1 over 8, or negative 6, 125. It's all the same thing. Okay. So the turning point here, which was not asked for, is going to be 15 over 4 and negative 6 and 1 over 8. So to answer this question, the question was for the range. So the graph has to be more than negative 6 and 8. So therefore y is greater than negative 6 and 1. But then it must be, does the graph exist at this point? Yes, it can be equal as well. Okay, are you following the memo, Michael? Huh? Do you calculate it? Somebody must just follow the memo, no? And just let me know if I made a mistake or something. Okay. Any confusion there, people? No? For 2 marks, the question says, which values of x is f of x increasing? So as you can see here, the graph is, as you move from left to right, the graph is decreasing. Here the graph is increasing. So it's increasing for x is more than 15 over 4. Everybody can understand? You say the graph is increasing for x is greater than 15 over. Okay, any confusion here?
My apologies for the interruption. The following grade 12s can you please report to the upstairs conference room. Lisa Tanya McKeever, Shakira Adonis, Mackenzie Haas, Lithala Nagaju, Denisha Coleman, and Faye Hope.
I'm so excited that they're not being chosen. For moderation, it's moderation act. Right, people, that's how it works. The question says, okay, so we are told that find the equation of g of x giving an answer in the form of g of x is equal to. Okay, so what type of graph is g of x? It's a hyperbolic graph, not so hyperbolic. So, as you can see, the equation of this line here is x is equal to 1. And this line is y is equal to 1. Not so, it's coming from there. Alright, so your p value is 1 and your q value is 1. So y is equal to a over x minus 1 plus 1. Now in pursuit of calculating a, I need to substitute the pointers lying on this line. And I have 2. That's 1, 2, and I got 3 there. So it's 0 and 3. Or I can substitute 1, 2, 3 and 0. So it's either 0 and 3 or 3 and 0. That's the reason why I put in those strokes there. Okay? So I'm going to go with 3 and 0. You substitute 3 and 0. It's x and a y. So 0 is equal to a over 3 minus 1 plus 1. Again, over becomes minus 1 is equal to a over 2. So a is minus 2. What's my equation? Y is equal to negative 2 over x minus 1 plus 1. Okay? And this is your g of x graph. So g of x is equal to negative 2 over x minus 1 plus 1. Okay. Yes? Memo? Negative 2. Negative 2. Negative 2. Right, let's go to the next question. State the domain of g of x. People, what is domain? All possible x values. So if you look at this graph here, this graph exists at negative infinity on your x and positive infinity. So what do we write for that? X is an element of all real numbers. However, x is not equal to an x value of 1. Okay. Is there any confusion at this point? Let's look at the next question. The next question says, write down the equation of h of x. Write down the equation of h of x, which is the reflection of g of x, which is this graph, in the x-axis. People, what's the rule if something's reflected in the x-axis? Something reflected in the x-axis, y becomes negative. Not so. So that's the equation. So you say negative y is equal to negative 2 over x minus 1 plus 1 divided by y by negative. So that will be positive now. X minus 1 minus 1. Okay. Let's look at the next question. Number 2.4. For which values of x is g of x less than or equal to 0? So this is the y is equal to 0 line here. Not so this line. This is the y is equal to 0. Less than or equal to 0 means below the line. Not so. If it was more than, would have been above the line. Are you okay?
Yes, sir.
What's going on? Sunscreen. There's no sun here, my God.
Because so when I go out, I'm gonna forget.
But you're not going to go out now. You must do your maths now.
Okay, so sorry.
I feel I have cheated on you, making yourself nice for another subject. Alright. Because less than means below this line. Not so. If you look at this graph, below the line is all of this here. From this point, which is? So it's from 1 till 3. That is the case. So in other words, x must be greater than 1 but less than 3. Let's look at 1. Can the graph be equal at 1? Make so? No. Why not? Asymptotic. Graph never touches that. Can we equal at the 3? You guys understand? Okay. Let's look at the next question. The next question says, is
My
G of
apologies
X
for the
increasing
interruption.
or
Failing
decreasing?
now, can you please report to the upstairs conference room? Failing now in grade 12.
So as x increases, what happens? This graph is increasing. Can you see that? As x increases, this graph is increasing. So this is an increasing function. 2.2.4, the graph is increasing. Okay, is there any confusion here? No? So the next question. 2.3, the graph of k of x is equal to bx plus q is sketched alongside. First question. Find the value of b and q. Remember what's the equation? If k of x is equal to k of x is equal to b to the x plus q. People, q is your horizontal asymptote, not so. So q is equal to negative 2. So k of x is equal to b to the x minus 2. So how many unknowns are there still? That needs to be solved. 1, which is your b value. So with that, I need 1 point on this graph. People, if I'm going to put 0 and 1 in here, 0 and minus 1. If I put 0 on the b, it's going to give me 1. It's not going to work. So I have to substitute 1 and 0. Okay. We will substitute 1 and 0. I think there was a 5 here or something that I cut off. Okay? Before somebody asked, how do you know it's a 1? So it could have been units of 2 and so on. But I think I cut this off because of the space constraint here. Okay? So it's an x and a y. So 0 is equal to b to the 1 minus 2. Take 2 over the equal sign. It becomes 2. So b is equal to 2. So what's the equation of this graph? K of x is equal to 2 to the x minus 2. Okay? Next question. Write down the range of k of x. What's the range? All possible y values. So you look at this graph. Does this graph exist at negative infinity? No. Where does it start existing at? Negative 2 onwards. In other words, y must be greater than negative 2. People, can it be equal at negative 2? No, why not? Asymptote. Okay. Look at the next question. If k of x is reflected about the y-axis, k of x is reflected about the y-axis. So if something is reflected in y-axis, what's the rule? X becomes negative. Not so. So if you look at this here, x is lying there and there. So it's k of minus x, or just y is equal to 2 to the minus x minus 2. And k of x to form s of x. So s of x is equal to 2 to the minus x minus 2, or it can be written as a half to the x minus 2. The same thing. Okay? That brings us to the end of question 2. Let's look at question 3. Here we are given f of x equal to sine x, 2 sine x, and g of x equal to negative cos x plus 1, for x is an element of negative 360 to 360. Draw the graph on the same system axis. Okay? So here, this is by approximation. Okay? You should be using a ruler and so on. So if that is 360, this is 180, that is 270, no, 90. That's going to be 270. So about the same net here. You get negative 360, negative 180, negative 90, and negative 270. That's 0. Okay, so the amplitude here is 2. So I'm going to have y is equal to 1, y is equal to 2, y is equal to minus 1, y is equal to minus 2. It's going to be your... Even in the exam, I think I will give you a graph paper to work on. Okay. So if you don't get one, then this is what you must do. In case I forget it, to give you one. Okay. So the sine graph, this is what the sine graph looks like. So that is 2 and minus 2. Okay, because of that 2 influence. And if you look at the sine graph in red, so it goes 90 is 2 minus 2, 270. And connect the dots. Do what I do best, no? You just connect the dots. There's 90, 2, and then it gets repeated the side as well. Many of you are going to use a calculator as you explained. Or if you know the parameters well, you can do it without the calculator. Okay? So this is the f graph, the f of x. This is right here on the side, f of x was equal to 2 sine x. Look at the g of x graph. G of x graph is the negative cos x graph, which is going to look like the negative cos graph looks like that. But it also moves 1 unit up. That is the negative cos x graph. So if it moves 1 unit up, that goes to 0. That is normally 90 goes to 1 now. 180, which is 1, goes to 2. And again, connect the dots there. Okay, and it gets repeated here. 90, 180. This is the g of x graph. We just write g, and the g of x graph is negative cos x plus 1. Okay. 6 marks or something like this. Okay. Next question. It says, write down the period of G. Period, people, what's the period? Time taken to complete one full cycle. So the period on the G graph from start to finish is 360. The period and the amplitude of the F graph. is going to be 2. From neutral to max is 2. Okay? That's all. Now 3.3. Give the equation of the graph obtained in g of x. Give the equation of the graph obtained in if g of x reflected in the x-axis. People, what is the rule if it's reflected in the x-axis? Y becomes negative. So g of x is this graph here, not so. G of x is the y. So negative y is equal to negative cos x plus 1 divided by negative. So y is equal to cos x minus 1. Okay, so that's 3.3. If the range of f of x, if it's translated 3 units down. So the range of f of x. People, what is the range currently of f of x? It's going from negative 2 to positive 2. That's the range. Yeah? Including 2 and negative 2. But what happens if the graph moves 3 units down? Remember, this is y is greater than or equal to minus 2 but less than or equal to 2. No? What if it moves 3 units down? In that, negative 2 is going to go to negative 5. So it's negative 5.
So doesn't the range stay 4 then?
Sorry?
If you move the graph down, doesn't the range stay
4.
4?
No. The range meaning to say is the possible y values that exist for this graph. So it's from the y values exist from minus 2 till 2. You see that is the range. Although it's across 4 units, the range is the values on which it covers on the y. Okay. So that is going to be from minus 2 to 2. Okay. But now you bring this graph 3 units down, minus 2 goes to minus 5, and 3 units down goes to negative 1. Okay.
So what do we call that 4 units?
4 units. Is the distance between the maximum and minimum. That is 4 units. But if I move this down 3 units, the distance still from the maximum to the minimum is still 4 units. It's just that it's the whole graph. Which graph is the one in red? No? It's basically this whole graph here. This whole graph which moved 4 units down. So 2, we move it down 4 units. 3. That 2 goes to minus 1. So that graph in red is not this graph here. So what is the range? The range is going from minus 1 all the way to negative 5. Okay. Let's go to the next question. It's a beautiful question. Let's take this off here. Then again, all the maths questions are beautiful. Yeah? Okay, 3.5. The question says for which values of x will f of x times g of x be greater than or equal to 0 for x an element of 0 to 360. People, what does this mean from 0 to 360? You must only answer this for that interval. That's basically what it means. Can you see that? Now, this graph is currently drawn from negative 360 to 360. Can you see that? But they only want you to answer from 0 to 360. So you're not interested in that there anymore. Can you see that? Right. People, when would we multiply two numbers and the answer will be positive? Both is positive, yes? Or both is negative. So if you look here, what can we say from 0 to 90? Both is positive. From 90 to 180, both is positive. Not so. But you say, hang on, here it changes. Okay? Here, 1 is negative. Well, how do we know it's negative? It's below the line. 1 is negative, 1 is positive. 1 negative, 1 positive. Till which point? Till 360 again. So we say here, it must be equal as well. So I have to put this in y, because it's equal at 0 there. Equal to 0 here. Not so? Right, so that point I'm going to write in as well. So in other words, it's from 0 to 180. Can you see that? It's a continuous solution. So I say x is greater than 0, but less than 180. Can we include the 0? Yes. Why? That's 0 at 0. Can I include the 180? Yes. Why? Because the red graph, the f of x graph is 0 there. And 0 times anything is 0. So I include the 180 there as well. Do we include the 360? Yes. So I say, or x is equal to 360 degrees. Okay. Right. Let's carry on with the lives. Last question. Can it be true? Did I miss anything? The short question. People, the bonus question, we are told that the graph of y equals a times 3 to the x plus b is shown alongside. Choose the correct description of a and b. Firstly, a must be, if the graph is coming down like this, we know a is negative. Okay, so let's say where a is negative. This is a is greater than 0, but this is not telling me that. A is greater than 0, which means by positive, not that. A is less than 0, yes. A, right, one of those two. So those two are gone. Process of elimination. People, your asymptote will definitely be on top. And that tells me about the b. Not so, this was the y is equal to b here. Right. B is less than 0. What does this mean to say? B is negative. Is this a negative value or positive value? Positive. How do we know it's positive? It's above the x-axis. So therefore, D is the answer. Okay. You guys understand? Easy. Okay, I hope you guys are going to get such an easy paper. Would you want the easy paper or a paper to check if you understand what's happening?
Easy.
No, man, people. I'd rather want you guys to be tested properly.
Not on our marks also.
Sorry? Say. Rattan Pele, what do you say? Gallo? Definitely gonna count. But we also want to see if you know what's happening. But maybe don't make it too difficult. Right, people? The next paper we have chosen already. The full paper can be found in the description box below.